You want to know what the worst part of this loss was to me as a Sixers fan? It's not the fact that Joel Embiid and James Harden both didn't show up in Game 7. It's not the fact that we had a 3-2 series lead and we blew it. It's not even the fact that Jason Tatum, who we could have drafted instead of Markelle Fultz, went on to drop 51 points, the most points ever in a Game 7 on us in this blowout win. No. The worst part of this loss is that now for the next year, I have to listen to a bunch of morons giving their opinion on this team. And the leading opinion right now, the main opinion that I have seen over the last couple days following this heartbreaking loss, has been that the Sixers need to blow up their team. Harden is going to Houston apparently, even though he has no reason to go there. And we need to trade Joel Embiid and rebuild from scratch. Start it over. Build around Tyrese Maxey and whoever we draft from whatever picks we get from another team when we trade Joel Embiid. And can I just say that is abso-freaking-lutely idiotic. If you think this, you are a moron. I would just like to put that out there. There is no logical reason to blow up this team right now. Joel Embiid is the best player the Philadelphia 76ers have had since Moses Malone. Yes, he's better than Allen Iverson ever was. Get over it. Joel Embiid is the best player this team has had in 40 years. And I, too, let me tell you, I'm one of the biggest Joel Embiid fans out there. I'm heartbroken by how he played in Game 7. It was pathetic, it was inexcusable, and I'm not going to try to excuse it. I'm not going to try to defend it. He played like dog shit. But that does not mean that we should trade him. It does not mean that he is suddenly a dude who we should be trading to the Thunder for picks and Josh Giddey and Lou Dort. This is a real trade proposal I saw people talk about and supporting. 4 picks, Lou Dort and Josh Giddey for reigning MVP, top 5 player in the league, Joel Embiid. Are you out of your mind? I saw another one that was just trading him for if the Rockets draft Wemby, you trade him for Wemby and Sengun. And we're not trading this man to rebuild. We are not rebuilding this team. Did you people already forget how long this team was rebuilding before? It felt like ages. We finally have a contending team here, and everyone wants to blow it up. Look at how long the Magic, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Blazers, realistically, they got Dame and then they still never went anywhere. They never were true contenders. There are probably another dozen teams who I can name who have been rebuilding forever and are begging to get an MVP caliber player. So even if they don't win, they can at least be contenders. They can at least have a chance. Sixers fans, we need to appreciate the fact that we're only as heartbroken as we are over this loss because our team had a real chance to win this championship. We were so close, and while I am sick and tired of coming up short year after year, I would still rather at least have a chance to win rather than just throwing it all out the window for another decade or more of tanking. Because as much as I love Maxey, he is not a franchise cornerstone superstar to build a contender around. He's just not. He is a great number 2 or 3 guy on a good team with a real superstar next to him. He is not a player you build a championship contender around. That is what Joel Embiid is. So you keep going back year after year after year, just like the Mavericks did with Dirk before he finally won in 2011, just like the Rockets did with Hakeem Olajuwon before he finally won back-to-back in the mid-90s, just like the Lakers did for several years after losing Shaq. People seem to forget the fact that Kobe Bryant missed the playoffs and then had several early playoff exits before he finally went through and won some championships without Shaquille O'Neal. There are plenty of examples throughout history of guys who lost over and over and over again, and then they finally pulled through because they stuck with their teams and they kept retooling the team. And it's not even like this Sixers team isn't going to be a contender next year. If you have Embiid and Maxey together on a team, you have a contender. This team is finally, for the first time in the Joel Embiid era, going to have a good coach. Now, I don't know who that coach is. The list of candidates was D'Antoni, Cassell, Monty Williams, Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel. Those are the names who I saw pop up. And while I don't like some of them, All of them are better coaches than Doc Rivers, and most likely, please, please, Daryl Morey, please, we're going to hire one who is actually really, really good, because there are some truly quality names in that list. Half of those guys are proven phenomenal coaches, and even some other ones like Sam Cassell are guys who players on the team like and seem to be clear superior coaching choices to Doc Rivers. So we are finally going to have a good coach for the first time in Joel Embiid's career. He will have a good quality coach. Joel Embiid has improved every single season of his career, except maybe 2020, but that was a weird year. The team had a terrible fit. It's hard to say if he really got better or not. Joel Embiid will presumably get slightly better. Yes, his injuries are always going to be a risk, and they terrify me, but he's still going to get better, and maybe he will finally have a fully healthy playoff run. Who knows? Maybe I'm stupid, but I hold out hope every year, because every year it's a different injury with him. It's not like one consistent issue, it's some new injury, so maybe the basketball gods will bless us, and he will stay healthy for one full postseason. I don't know. But we've got Embiid. Maxey is very young. He's going to keep getting better. We got other young guys on this team like Paul Reed and Jaden Springer who are going to keep getting better. Jaden McDaniels as well. We're keeping DeAnthony Melton. We have a bunch of good players. People seem to think Harden's going to leave, and I don't think James Harden is going to leave the Sixers. Until it happens, I don't believe it, because everyone's saying he's going to Houston. But can we just for 10 seconds, think about why on earth James Harden would want to go to Houston? Their team is tanking. James Harden is not going to turn Houston into a contender. He is old and exiting his prime. Why on earth would they even want him? They are tanking. He's just taking shots away from their young guards like Jalen Green, who need to have the ball and need to improve their games. There is no reason for him to go to Houston. It doesn't make any sense. I think that all of those rumors were just to make sure Doc Rivers got fired, because now Harden and Embiid are going to be very involved in who the new coach this team hires is. Harden is almost certainly, I'm going to say it now, I'm pretty much guaranteeing it, and maybe I'm going to get clowned for this in like a month when he leaves, but I would pretty much guarantee James Harden is not going to leave the Sixers, because number one, he fits great here, number two, he seems to like it here, and number three, this man is an aging star. He needs to win a championship for his legacy, and a place where he both likes and fits well seems to make the most sense for him to ring chase. This is the most logical place in the entire league for him to go out and ring chase. It does not make sense for him to leave. It just doesn't. There is no reason, and especially if he left, I can guarantee you he's not going to Houston. He would go to another contending team somewhere who would have to clear cap space for him. I think this Sixers team needs to run it back next year with a better coach. And guess what, guys? If they lose next year, you know what I think they ought to do in 2025? They ought to run it back again. It's not that complicated. You keep running this championship formula back until Joel Embiid finally ages out of his prime, and we are no longer contenders. I do not support the idea that this team should tank instead of being a contender. That is not a solution. Even if we are not the favorites, and every year we keep coming up short, you keep trying again. Half the teams in this league would kill to be in the situation the Sixers are in, where they are legitimate title contenders and they keep falling short. This team needs to keep trying and hope that one day they can break through. It would be beyond stupid to completely blow up the team and start from scratch. That is my opinion on the Sixers. No, they should not blow it up. I'm very excited to see what coach we hire. And next season, maybe they'll finally get this championship, and I and the rest of this fan base can have some freaking peace.